All of this leads to data model poisoning. Oh, trust me, this is something which I totally love. Why do I say that? Because there are cases where we ourselves are poisoning our data. And how are we doing it? Where we're taking the data from someone and just without testing it, wetting it, and deliberately using it. So poisoning happens when someone deliberately messes with the data which is used to train or fine tune that AI model. I'll give you my personal example where I'm Vandana, and ChatGPT knows something about me, but does not know everything about me. And I am a person who's like, let's train it. Let's talk about Vandana is like a scientist and this and that. Let me tell you, there's another Vandana Verma who is a NASA scientist, who's a NASA person, and it might mix up a person who's working on cybersecurity, who works for Sneak, and then it mix up with the person who works for NASA because we have the same name. That can happen, and that's like poisoning it, and then it does not give you that information. And it's not just about bugs, it's about secretly teaching the model bad things, planting backdoors, or injecting biases so the model eventually acts weird, or just plain evil. And we can tamper with the training data, and play around with it. So what happens? Let's talk about pre-training, fine-tuning, and embedding. And that's where poisoning happens. Where when we talk about pre-training, it is learning everything that we are providing from the internet. Unfortunately, the internet include trolls, scams, and some really bad takes. Then talks about fine-tuning. First, we have trained it, and now we are fine-tuning. Let's get you job ready. But what if the job training manual was written by someone who's bad? Then comes the embedding, where we're turning words into math. And some of those words could be problematic. So we have to understand all the three aspects. Because if we don't do it, then somebody else will do the magic for us. Now, why is it a big deal? Why data poisoning is something which is bad, and sometimes it's crazy. The model might act normal until a secret trigger phrase activates it. It's like a sleeper cell agent, or we are trying to add some biased data to it because we don't want our data to be biased. That's something which we never wanted. Another important aspect is that we're talking about AI bill of materials. AI bill of material is nothing but anything and everything that we're talking with AI or LLM models or LLM systems, we are making a note of it. Whether it's third party dependencies, whether it's licenses, whether it's any vendor. Because if you don't do it, somebody else will get to it and then start updating it. That's very, very important. And we need to understand how we're going to be actually taking the data. We need to track all our origins, all the transformations, very important. Monitor all the training that is happening. And it should not just happen from one source. But when you're using one source, understand what data is coming from there. Uh, uh, Analyze the behavior. Very important. Maybe it acts all okay in the beginning, but then suddenly you see some different behavior which we don't want. So it's very important to have that. Then we can implement strict sandboxing. Very important to have sandboxes to test it out and then put it to the production. If you don't do it, you would never be able to get the right information. Now, there are cases where attacker biases the model output by just manipulating the trading data or using those injection techniques, spreading misinformation.